This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Peaceful protests are expected again downtown today, but a similar protest was marred by an ugly incident earlier this week. Coming up on the News at Noon, the effort to investigate the conflicting stories to find out what exactly happened here. But first, this Wednesday, it is a Storm Team 6 Alert Day. Meteorologist Todd Clausen in the studio with me this afternoon. Todd, when can we expect these storms to roll in?
You know, they're starting to flare up already, and just within the last 10 minutes, Meredith National Weather Service has put this severe thunderstorm watch out for virtually all of the eastern half of the state, and including a few counties to the west of Indianapolis. And these will eventually get filled in here. Those are coming from the National Weather Service out of the Cincinnati office, but I would expect them to add Richmond and Wayne County into the thunderstorm watch as well. So these storms have really just started to flare up. Right now, they're just rainmakers. There's been a little bit of lightning and some gusty winds, but nothing severe as of yet. Lebanon down towards Greencastle, some heavier downpours moving off towards the north and east. So they'll be into Lebanon shortly, Pittsburgh, and then eventually Avon as we get a little bit closer to about quarter past the hour. Some additional storms down to the south here, just north of Bloomfield. But watch for these storms to continue to blossom as this cold front makes its way through the area. If you've been outside, you know it's warm. It's very, very humid, almost tropical-like. So these storms are going to continue to flare up. In fact, they should become a little bit stronger here across the eastern portion of the state, but they're quick moving. That's the good news. By about 5 o'clock, if you have evening plans, there could be a spot shower or two here or there. But for the most part, the severe threat will be over by then. It's an enhanced risk for severe weather off towards the east. As you work your way westward, that threat diminishes to just a marginal risk off towards the west. We'll talk more about your extended forecast and these storms coming up in just a little bit.
Todd, thank you. New this midday, another street that was shut down by the city of Indianapolis to help restaurants offer outdoor dining is open once again. Today, crews with the Department of Public Works reopened Illinois Street between Georgia and Market Streets. The stretch of road was initially shut down last month, so restaurants had more room to set up outdoor tables. At the time, indoor dining was banned in the city due to COVID-19 restrictions. Those restrictions are slowly being relaxed. 3 streets remain closed to car traffic, parts of Mass Ave, Georgia Street, and Broad Ripple Avenue. Those closures are expected to continue through at least the 4th of July. Protesters against police brutality are expected to be back on Monument Circle this afternoon and evening, as they have been for much of the last 2 weeks. It comes as police continue to look into this incident caught on camera during protests on Monday. The video shows a woman driving her minivan into the path of protesters, then driving away from the scene. We want to be clear, the video does not show the moments leading up to that incident. No serious injuries were reported, and police say there are now conflicting stories as to exactly what happened. The woman who shot the video told RTV6 she was protesting on the circle with her 16-year-old daughter at the time.
Like everything just happened like boom, boom, like it happened really fast. Somehow came around and just, you know, full throttle, just all gas, no brakes, just running through the crowd.
IMPD says the driver of the minivan eventually stopped and called 911. Officers say she is cooperating with the investigation, but so far no charges have been filed. Funeral and visitation arrangements have been announced for Chris Beatty. The 38-year-old was shot and killed 2 weeks ago during the violent weekend that followed that peaceful protests. A homegoing celebration for the former IU and Cathedral football player will be held this Friday at the Pavilion at Pan Am. Services will be from noon to 6 p.m. and are open to the public. A private funeral for the family will be held Saturday. In lieu of flowers, the family requests donations be made to the Chris Beatty Memorial Fund. The fund will provide scholarships for incoming students at Indiana University and Cathedral High School in Chris's memory. One day after the funeral for George Floyd, the conversation on Capitol Hill is centered around police reform. But the House and Senate are taking very different paths toward that goal. ABC's Alex Prochet has more.
George Floyd's brother testifying before Congress.
I couldn't take care of George that day he was killed, but maybe by speaking with you today, I can make sure that his death will not be in vain.
At a House Judiciary Committee hearing on police brutality, 2.5 weeks after Floyd's death at the hands of Minneapolis police officers.
I'm here to ask you to make it stop. Stop the pain.
In the Senate, Tim Scott, the lone black Republican, was tapped to lead a group developing a police reform proposal. The calls for change growing louder as videos like these continue to surface. In Texas, Austin police just releasing this body cam footage Monday of the death of Javier Ambler 16 months ago. His last cries heard just before police using a taser on him for a fourth time.
Do it now, roll over.
Ambler's death was initially classified a justifiable homicide. The county sheriff's department determined the officers did not violate pursuit or use of force policies. The incident, which started as a minor traffic violation and ended 22 minutes after a police chase, is now back under investigation. Across the country, calls to defund the police are intensifying. It's a demand to take some funds normally allocated for police departments and redirect them to social programs. Los Angeles announcing major cuts to police funding. Seattle considering a 50% reduction. And New York redirecting funds to youth programs and moving a bill forward that would ban chokeholds. All of this sparked by the death of George Floyd and the protests that followed.
Change is coming.
Yesterday, a moving, joyful, tearful celebration of life in Houston by those who knew him best.
This will be a homegoing celebration.
Family dressed in white to honor him, vowing to continue to fight in his memory.
Hello, my name is Brooke Williams, George Floyd's niece, and I can breathe. Long as I'm breathing, justice will be served.
Now, another movement sweeping the country in the wake of George Floyd's death is the removal of Confederate monuments. House Democrats renewing a push to expel Confederate statues from the halls of Congress. Alex Brachet, ABC News, Houston.
People all over the world are working to find answers about COVID-19. Up next, why a well-known genetics company says your blood type may protect you from the virus. Todd.
And Meredith, the line of storms is fired up here this afternoon across central Indiana and is making its way towards downtown Indianapolis and the eastern side of the state. With it will come the threat of severe weather. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. You're watching the news at noon right here on RTV6.
Thursday, 9/8 Central on ABC.
15 more COVID-19 deaths are being reported by the state health department. The new numbers just out moments ago. The number of total coronavirus cases has now surpassed 38,000 with 339 new cases reported today. COVID-19 research is taking place around the world, mostly at universities, but some private companies are doing their own studies as well. Our Kelsey Anderson has more on one company that found your blood type might have something to do with your risk of catching the virus.
If you have type O blood, studies done by 23andMe say you could be less likely to contract the coronavirus. The company 23andMe used more than 750,000 people in their study and found people with type O blood aren't getting the virus as much as people with other blood types. But if you take a look at this chart, you can see it isn't by much, and that's why Dr. Christopher Belcher, Infection Prevention Medical Director at St. Vincent, says this study doesn't mean you are invincible to the virus.
It's still not enough to protect you. You can't walk out and say, I have blood type O, I'm invincible, because those people got sick too. They were less likely to, but the difference was not enough.
Dr. Belcher does want to remind folks to be careful when signing up to be a part of studies like this because there could be a breach of privacy. If you want to take a closer look at this study, we've got it linked for you over on the IndyChannel.com. Just search 23andMe. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. The COVID-19 pandemic continues to create challenges in making sure everyone has enough to eat. So WRTV is teaming up with Kroger and Second Helpings to get meals into the hands of those who are struggling to put food on their table. From June 15th to June 21st, whenever you shop at select Central Indiana Kroger stores, you can round up your grocery bill or select a donation amount of your choice when you check out. The proceeds will go directly to Second Helpings. Working together, WRTV and the Scripps Howard Foundation will match up to $12,000 in donations. You can find out more at your Kroger store or you can donate online at secondhelpings.org. You don't want these guys climbing on your roof. Next, how criminals are pretending they want to help you after a big storm blows through. And we're expecting a big storm later today. It is a Storm Team 6 alert day. Meteorologist Todd Clausen here standing by, waiting to bring you the latest. We'll have that coming up after the break.
You want the way you want at TomWood.com.
With severe weather happening occasionally, that could mean damage to your home. And after the weather passes through, that's when the scammers usually start showing up. Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau say they are tracking one bogus company, and he says you should not let them climb on top of your home.
We had reports of people going around different neighborhoods in Indianapolis and knocking on doors, telling people that they will get a free roof inspection. They'll say something like, we're working in the neighborhood, just wanted to check out your roof. It's all for free. And these people will have unmarked vehicles, and if you ask them where you're from, you'll get kind of a vague answer. And here's what's happening: people will go up on your roof, and if they don't actually find damage, they actually may create it themselves. Rip off a shingle or do something and bring it back. Or we've also had reports where they will show you pictures of someone else's roof, claiming that it's your roof. So when you do have anybody that is going to do an inspection on your roof, number one, you should always first call your insurance company if there have been damage to your roof. They can send out qualified inspectors. Number two, if your roof just needs to be replaced after so many years, it's really good to check those businesses out. Go to bbb.org. We have lots of accredited businesses that are roofers out there. And this is a very, very big purchase. Roofs are not inexpensive, so you want to make sure that you get the right person, but don't fall for people who are going to come knocking on your door, offering a free roof inspection, because you never know what they're going to come back and tell you. So just do your homework before you do anything like that.
Tim, thanks. And there are some storms rolling into central Indiana at this very moment. Todd, what are you monitoring?
Yeah, nothing severe as of right now, but the potential is there for some of these storms to become severe. The National Weather Service put out the thunderstorm watch just before the top of the hour for all the counties you see there in yellow, essentially from Lebanon and Crawfordsville off towards the east, all the way to the state line in Ohio, with the exception of a few counties that will probably get filled in at some point with either a thunderstorm or a tornado watch. But the only storms that we have going right now is a broken line. You see that one up there just north of Peru. We'll focus on this one just to the northwest of Indianapolis. A little bit of lightning here, but some really, really heavy rainfall in the Lebanon area over towards Thorntown as well. It extends south into Hendricks County, North Salem, some lightning strikes there. And then there's another downpour as you work your way down towards the Spencer area. This one cell, it's moving off towards the northeast with more of a northerly component as of right now, but they should start to slide more east as the afternoon goes on. But Pittsburgh, you're up next. Whitestown as we get a little closer to the bottom of the hour, and then eventually up towards Kokomo by about 12:45. Here is that downpour with a little bit of lightning towards Spencer. So these storms will continue their eastward progression as we work our way throughout the afternoon hours. If you've been outside, and probably most of you have, it is really, really humid out there with temperatures that are sitting up in the 80s. So as this front comes through, we should be able to manufacture these heavy downpours, whether the storms go severe or not. Here's the area of low pressure back off to our west, and all that has to spin through. But once we get rid of these storms, we're going to usher in a really, really nice weather pattern that's going to take us throughout the end of the week and all the way through the weekend. But here's the timing for these storms. Some stronger ones here developing by 1, 2 o'clock off towards the east, and then some additional storms possible to 2, 3 o'clock. And then by the time we get to 4 or 5 o'clock, most of these storms should fire up across parts of Ohio. So it's just a small window here this afternoon, at least for the severe potential. Definitely not a guarantee you're going to see severe weather at your house. They're just going to be kind of spotty. But along the lines of the timing of that front, an enhanced risk from Peru over towards Muncie from the Storm Prediction Center. As you work your way westward, that risk threat drops to marginal on the western side of the state, where you're not even included in the thunderstorm watch. The main threat by far for everybody is going to be wind. It's going to be windy even outside of these storms as this front comes through, where we could see some gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Obviously higher gusts within those severe cells. Can't rule out the chance of an isolated tornado, but it's not as high of a threat as the wind. The temperatures right now in the 80s across the area. Once this front goes through, you'll notice the difference this evening if you're out. The humidity is going to drop, and notice how the temperatures kind of cool off already back down to by 10 p.m. to 70 degrees. And then going forward in this forecast tomorrow, tomorrow, look at the change. Sunshine from start to finish. We get rid of all that humidity as well. The temperature tomorrow right around 80 degrees. We'll continue the nice weather all the way through the weekend. Saturday, there could be a stray shower or two, but for the most part, plenty of sunshine. Cooler for Saturday and Sunday with highs in the mid-70s, then back up into the low 80s as we work our way, Meredith, into the middle of next week.
Todd, thank you. We want to get to some breaking news this midday. An elderly man who had been reported missing from an assisted living facility in Hendricks County has been found dead on the north side of Indianapolis. That man's body found early this morning in waters along Battery Point Way. That's near North Keystone and 78th Street. We're told the man was last seen yesterday evening. That is all we know so far. We do have a crew at the scene, and we will bring you more information as soon as it comes here into the RTV6 newsroom, and we'll post it on the IndyChannel.com. There will be no fans when NASCAR returns to IMS next month, but when fans do return to NASCAR races, they may not be able to bring Confederate flags with them anymore. NASCAR's only black driver, Bubba Wallace, is asking the Stock Car Series to ban the flag at its tracks. It's part of a growing movement against symbols linked to racism that's risen out of the ongoing protests against police brutality. Wallace's car will also have a Black Lives Matter paint scheme when he competes in tonight's NASCAR race in Martinsville, Virginia. And we're taking a live look over the Circle City. You can see those clouds rolling in. Still ahead on the news at noon, we'll tell you a place where you can cool off with a nice glass of wine on a hot, sunny summer day. You're watching RTV6. We'll be right back.
Easy, even Petey can do it.
Don't let the rows of glasses and racks of bottles fool you. Vino Villa offers much more than wine. Our Brad Brown takes us to Greenwood, where reds, whites, savory pasta, and sweet desserts are served in a setting that brings new meaning to home style.
You don't have to be a wine lover to enjoy your time at Vino Villa. But if you are, you'll find a bit of bliss on this cozy corner.
Back when we opened was the fact that we really just didn't have any place, I felt, on the south side like this, where you could go and, learn about good wine, experience good wine.
Paul Jacquin opened Vino Villa in Greenwood back in 2011. It was intended to be just a wine shop, but quickly became much more.
As we were building out the facility and as the sign went up out front, neighborhood, came by and said, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
What they're doing is a full-on wine experience. More than 400 selections available in the shop, 20 plus by the glass that go with an amazing scratch-made food menu. From hearty shareables to sandwiches and salads, home-style Italian dishes, and a stunning display of desserts.
Our head chef is Felipe, our pastry chef is Jordan, and I tell you, some of the stuff that the two of them put out of the kitchen is, amazing. Given we've taken an old house that's 116 years old, the kitchen wasn't really set up to be a commercial restaurant.
The house that Vino Villa calls home was built by the Polk family in 1904, with a wine shop, dining room, and third-floor bar inside. Right now, though, the outdoor patio and gazebo are the prime spots.
Fortunate or unfortunate with the opening at half capacity, I think the weather has been great, and people feel very comfortable, probably more comfortable outside than in. The patrons in general have been overwhelmingly supportive of the business.
Paul has added a bocce court to his outdoor patio, hopes to debut that around the 4th of July weekend. Vino Villa is open Tuesday through Saturday at 11 a.m. You could take a look at their menu and more by visiting their website. Working for you, Brad Brown, RTV6.
All right, thank you there, Brad. A severe thunderstorm watch is posted across parts of the area. None of the storms out there currently are severe, but obviously some heavy rainfall and some lightning here up in the Lebanon area down towards Liston, and then also some south of Greencastle right along 231 as you work your way towards Spencer. Quite a bit of rainfall as well with a little bit of lightning mixed in. These storms will continue to push off to the east here throughout the course of the day today. The severe threat should come to an end by about 5 o'clock, damaging wind the main threat, but can't rule out the chance of an isolated tornado. Once past today, Meredith, a beautiful stretch of weather.
Looks great, Todd. Thank you. And thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope to see you back here at 5. In the meantime, have a great one.